Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is fine. I'm going to do an explanation of a word used in fishing, or people know it from fishing. If you know a lot about fishing, different kinds of fish. There's this quote-unquote fish in the Amazon called the electric eel, and it's in Brazil today. It's called a puraque. Now, I'm going to try to explain that this is a misnomer. It's a mistake, and everybody calls it by a mistake. And the mistake started with some Americans that went to the Amazon jungle and found this place on the banks of the Amazon River where there was electric eels. So what they wanted to do was to say, this is the place of the electric eel. So they made a name in Portuguese, or they thought it was Portuguese, saying Puraquequara. It's really actually a misnomer. It was supposed to have been, or should have been, Por-aqui-quara. But the Americans didn't know how to talk or speak or write Portuguese very well back then. It was back in the 50s or 40s, whenever they went there. So they named it Puraquequara. Later on, it was shortened to Puraque. I mean, that's the short version, is Puraque. Then, as population increased and development in the area, there was development in the area. There was a villa that was also called Puraque, or Puraquequara, Villa Puraquequara. The only problem is that it was actually a misspelling, an attempt to make Portuguese. But somehow the electric eel became known as Puraque. Puraque, mind you, instead, and not Puraqui, because Puraqui means around here. But Puraque is this. This right here. This right here is Puraquequara or Por-aqui-quara, which means around here there's electric eels. But everybody in the whole world knows the electric eel as Puraque. Now, if you were able to zoom in on this boat here, there is a correction of the name. It no longer says Puraquequara, it says Por-aqui-quara, which is the original intended word to call this place on the banks of the Amazon. And right up in there is an opening to a lake, or a, what do you call it? It's at the mouth of a lake, you call it, where the lake goes into the Amazon River. And that's where the electric eels are, by the way, is in that lake. So somehow it was multiple misunderstandings and everything. But there's even up the lake, up in there, there's a what's called the Villa Portaquiquara, and it's spelled Portaquiquara, P-U, and not P-O, because P-O is Por-aqui-quara. And anyways, I'm going on and on because everyone in the world knows the electric eel. I mean, if you're a fisherman, as the Puraque, and it's not Puraque, because Puraque is supposed to mean Por-aqui, and it's supposed to signify that there's quara por-aqui, Puraquequara. Quara is the name of the electric eel. It used to be a long time ago, but everybody knows that at Puraque. This right here is Puraque. This place here is Puraquequara or Por-aqui-quara, which is supposed to be what what it is. And somehow the fish became known as Puraque, but that's not the original name of the fish. The original name of the fish is actually quara, because when we talk to the old timers, when I used to talk to the old timers, I used to ask them if they knew where Puraquequara was, and they would respond by saying, in their own vernacular, their own caboclo language, which is a kind of hillbilly language or whatever. With an accent, they would say, "Oh, sim, pô, eu conheço Poraquiquara, Poraquequara." That is a clear reference, and I didn't understand why they were saying Poraquiquara. Why do they say Poraquiquara when the name is Puraquequara, and they're saying Poraquiquara? Because they understood that it meant por-aqui, quara, that there's quara around here. So, so that verifies to me that the original name of the fish was quara, and that misinformation has the electric eel as being called quara. And when Jeremy Wade went to ask the Indian over in the Xingu River somewhere, some other tributary of the Amazon, it's not even in this place, not even near here, this place. He asked the Indian, "Oh well, where'd you get the name Quara? I mean Quara. Where'd you get the name Puraque from? Puraque." He said, "Oh, it's an Indian name." "Oh, you got it from your father?" "Yeah, we got it from my father. It's an Indian name." And it, I laugh because when I see those things, I'm laughing because there's no way that they would have called the electric eel the same. There's a completely another tributary of another Indian language in another location. They would never have called it Puraque. Never, never in a blue moon. I mean, it's like, because information's that way. It doesn't work that way. It came from somewhere. It came from right here. And this place is called Puraquequara. It's the place where I came from, basically. So, and it's on the banks of the Amazon River. So, I hope I cleared everything up. I made a lot of confusion, and I'm sure everyone and their uncle, uncle's cousin is going to disagree with me, but it doesn't matter because this is the true story of how the word Puraque came to be, and how it became known as the fish called the electric eel. How it became known as the name for the electric eel in this region. That it was a misunderstanding first by the Americans that called the place Puraque instead of Por-aqui, and then by other people that assumed that the Puraque was the electric eel and not the quara. And so, I mean, if you understand the language, you understand what happened, and if you know the history, of course. And I'm telling you what the history was, because there never used to be a villa Puraquequara up in the upriver there, in the lake upriver. So it never used to exist. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as a villa Puraquequara. There was no such thing as a bus line going to a villa, bus transportation. So The only thing that did exist was this place right here, and it was called Puraquequara, and Puraque for short. And that's somehow the electric eel became known as a Puraque. And that's the story of how it became known as Puraque. If you even care, if anybody cares. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Of course, I am very motivated to tell people that evolution is a lie, and it has no place in any educational system whatsoever. And the scientists are lying about having evidence when there is zero evidence of any evolution, because everything is its own kind. And the way you can know it's its own kind is to compare the genome side by side, and you will see that the human genome has human information copied with information that's copied multiple times for different things. A chimp's genome has different information that humans don't have. Humans have different information that chimps don't have. We do have a lot of the same information for proteins, because proteins are basically very similar between animals and plants. A lot of proteins. But if you compare the genome side by side, it's not a copy. Humans are copies of humans. Chimps are copies of chimps. And everything is what it is, what it was made to be, because that's the only information it has. It copies whatever information it already had or was given by the creator, of course. So I hope everyone is blessed by this discussion today and learned something. And I'll maybe hopefully make some more videos.